Namaskaram and warm greetings everyone. Today we have the honor of welcoming the Honorable Anoulack Chanthivong, a dedicated public servant and a prominent member of Legislative Assembly representing the Macquarie Fields electorate since 2015. Please join with me to welcome the Honorable Minister Anoulack Chanthivong. Honorable Minister, welcome to the MetroMalayalam and thank you so much for setting this time to meet with us and discuss the important work that you do to our community.
Deepa, namaste to our friends that are watching. Thank you for having me today and that very kind introduction.
Thank you so much. Thanks for setting aside this time to meet with us. It's a great privilege for us.
My pleasure and my honour. I'm delighted to be here to have a chat with you. And to our community as well, whether they're watching here in Australia or overseas as well.
Minister Chanthivong, we all know you're very passionate about advocating for community issues, even prior to your ministerial appointments. Since taking over these portfolios, we wanted to know, have you been able to implement those changes or reforms you've been advocating for? We would like to know the outcomes you have achieved so far.
Well, thank you very much, Deepa. Look, being a Member of Parliament is the greatest privilege I've had in my life, being able to represent my community, the people who I grew up with, my friends, my family. We're all from the same local area, so I get tickled every time I get the honour of actually representing and being the voice of people in our local area. Now, in terms of my ministerial portfolios, as you're aware, I've got a number of portfolios. In the fair trade and the better regulation for us, we've got a huge package of reform. We've established the Building Commissioner in New South Wales, which is about making sure that we have high quality homes and apartments for people in New South Wales. We don't want to sacrifice quantity for quality. You know, buying a home or buying an apartment is the biggest investment people in Australia will ever make in their life, unless of course you're a tech billionaire. So we want to make sure that there is trust and confidence into the system. We also know that as housing becomes less affordable, more and more Australians are actually renting. So our rental reform package is about making sure that our rental market is fairer, more transparent, and more amenable to more and more people living in rent. So we've got a huge rental reform, modernising the rental reform legislation to ensure that it meets the needs of the local community as more and more people are renting. And also we're mindful that people not only live in houses, but they also live in units and apartments. Now, more and more people in New South Wales will be living in units, near train stations, near the local community, close to work. So therefore we must also modernise our strata reform legislation. So we're working on that and we've passed a number of pieces of legislation, but there's more reform to come. So a really huge area package. In the industry and trade space, what we're trying to do is make sure we continue to diversify our economy, getting to different markets. And the focus for me, and particularly in our trade and export, is around our ASEAN markets and in India as well. Huge consumer populations, fast growing economies, complementary to the New South Wales and the Australian economy. We are an open trading nation. My job is to make sure we continue to grow the sectors and the areas that will deliver jobs, income, wages, and a much higher standard of living for the people of New South Wales. I'm really delighted, and I'm about to head off to my first trade mission into ASEAN, going to a number of ASEAN countries to make those connections, to open market opportunities, to ensure that our businesses and our industries get the opportunity to compete and show our products and services to the world. Now, in the innovation and technology space, I mean, technology is everywhere in our life. Now, it moves so quickly. New South Wales is the #1 state, I would say, in the Southern Hemisphere when it comes to startups. We've got 18 unicorns and I think about another 28 on the way. So my job is to make sure that we reset the relationship with the sector to understand what the role of government can best serve the industry and actually not getting away what industry does best. We want to attract more capital domestic and financial capital to our startup scene. We've got great universities, a great culture, a young, vibrant community, a wonderful city. You know, if you want to do tech startups or innovation, Sydney in New South Wales is the place to be. And we're going to be doing that through the reforms that we're doing in the Innovation Blueprint. Now, in terms of the my other role as the Minister for Corrections, my role there is to keep our community safe. We're doing a significant number of reforms in the correction system. We want to make sure that it's modernised and it is meeting the needs of our community and also our officers who work in a very complex environment. We've just recently completed the Astle inquiry, which identified a number of concerning practices within our corrective services system, but we're committed to reforming the system to make the changes to deliver a better outcome for our officers, for the inmates that are under our care, and for the community at large. So it is certainly a very full agenda, but I'm very much delighted and very privileged to get to do what I do, to deliver outcomes, to deliver better quality of life for the people of New South Wales.
Thank you so much. This is massive. And it's, you know, not only on the wider aspect, also in that local, being me from the local, you know, your constituency, yes. I can see I can't say that small things, but still like the impact that is making in our lives, like, you know, upgrade of Macquarie train station, getting the school crossing road for Victoria Road, commuters extra parking at Edmondson Park. So thank you so much, Minister, for you doing a great work.
No, look, I think no one in Australia can be a minister unless they are a member of Parliament representing their local area. We've worked so hard in the local campaigns, whether it's upgrading Macquarie Fields Lift. We've got a brand new special school for kids at Parsfield Park at Minto. We've got all the car park and all the train station upgrades at Emerson Park. Our community is growing. We need to grow with it. You know, Bardi Public School is another one great achievement that's been delivered for the local area. But you know, there's more to come, and there's always more to do to make the lives of the people in our local community so much better.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.
With the Western Sydney Airport, also known as Bradbury Griggs Airport, scheduled to be opening in 2026, we would like to know what steps would you take to tap onto this great opportunity it presents, particularly the impact on hospitality, tourism, local business, of course, more job opportunities.
Yep. Look, thank you very much. The Bradfield development, where the new Western Sydney Airport will be, is the single biggest piece of public infrastructure that I've seen in my lifetime. I think in most Australians as well. It will be Sydney's second airport, and that of course will bring increased trade, increased tourism and increased development in and around that area. Now, I know the airport well because that's where I live and that's where I've lived for the last 40 years. The airport will be an absolute game changer for our local community, but I also want to emphasise that it's more than just an airport. It's the surrounding development that we want to do around the airport as well. We want to increase the industrial capacity. We want to have certain industries that will take advantage. We want to make sure the transport links are working so that people can take out the most economic benefit from the public investment in the airport. And, you know, we have lots of communities that live around there, so being able to work closer to where you live will save our people commuting time, more time with their friends and their family, and of course about the recreational things that, you know, that make people live better lives. So I'm really excited about the project. It's been a long time coming. It will really allow the New South Wales economy to further grow, and I will work across all government to make sure that the Western Sydney Airport is a success for New South Wales and for the people of Australia as well. It's a really exciting time to be in Western Sydney.
Yes, of course. We are very excited to see that development coming. We've been waiting that for many years now.
Yes, exactly right.
Thanks, Minister. Recently, this year, April, I had the opportunity to attend the lunch with Premier Chris Min, organised by Campbelltown Chamber of Commerce. At the event, Mayor for Campbelltown City Council mentioned in his speech that after many years, we've been able to build two-story building. We got the approval while maintaining the village concept in Ingleburn and surrounding areas. Wanted to know how this will benefit or reshape the current housing market and the local businesses.
Yeah, look, housing is the number one issue affecting people across New South Wales and across Australia as well. You know, it's becoming more and more unaffordable. So therefore, we need to work really hard across all of government and also with the Commonwealth to bring quality housing onto the market. You know, pretty basic economics, more supply, hopefully will put downward pressure on prices. The government is working very hard in its own package reforms, and as I mentioned earlier, our focus is around what we call transit-oriented development, that is much more dense living in and around public infrastructure, in particular around train stations, because that will ensure that people live closer to transport network. That means they don't have to get in their cars, they don't have to get caught in traffic. There'll be greater consistency in travel times to and from work or to and from places of recreation. And I said the building commission that we've established is to make sure that housing is not only built, but built to a higher quality. And once you talk about stock, we also got to think about how people live in their houses. That's why our rental reforms, our strata legislation reforms is all part of the whole package where the government is focused on housing, housing and housing. Because you also must see housing as a much broader topic. That is, housing is not just where you live, but it's also about how your community functions, how your economy grows, because housing has to be the text where we are able to attract and retain the most skilled people in the world to come and live here in Sydney, to create the jobs, to connect with local communities and to grow our economy. So housing plays a central role to ensure that people are able to live where their family has lived for sometimes centuries, and making sure that communities are still connected and families can stay together. Housing affordability and the topic of housing has never been more important for the New South Wales economy and our community and the way we live.
Absolutely. That's, as you said, that's the centre connecting with every other thing.
Yes, that's
and it's very pleasure to hear from you about those steps you are taking.
Yes.
Sounds very promising.
Yes.
Thanks, Minister. Over the years, we have seen you very busy and hardworking, always dedicated to the people and the community, and also you do have a young family.
I do.
And being in this responsible position and a family man, we would like to know the secret behind how you balance your work and life.
No, I think I'm very lucky. I come from a very loving family. I'm one of 4 boys, and my mum and dad. We're a very close-knit family, and now I have a family of my own. I've got 2 young children, and my wife also works as well. So, I think having a stable, loving personal life makes you a better public representative. I'm very lucky and very fortunate to have that. Certainly the job, as you've seen with my various ministerial portfolios and also being the local member, does take time away from my family. So I balance that to make sure that I spend enough time with my children, particularly as they're growing up, and with my family, with my wife as well, because having a solid grounding personal life makes you a better thinker, makes you a better decision maker, and makes you live a more balanced life. So I certainly try to balance my professional life with my personal life. And these things are not mutually exclusive. You can do both, but you just got to do it in a more measured and a proportionate way. And I think you're a better public representative, a better minister, by having a much more better personal life. So I think fundamentally I'm just very lucky to have a very loving family and 2 beautiful children and a wife who support me. And we support each other. It's not just can be one way, it has to be both ways as well. So I have to support them where I can and vice versa. I can't do this job alone. I do it with the support of obviously my family and my friends and also my community as well. So we have wonderful schools, wonderful childcare arrangements, and also like all working families with two both parents or one household, I'm very lucky to have my mum and dad nearby, and they help out with childcare. So that helps us too. So we balance it in many different ways, and it can be done, but it just just requires you to have a loving and close network of family and friends who are willing to help you out, and that's how I do my job. And I love them both. I love both jobs, and we can do both.
That's great. That's great to know. And touch wood. And I have seen your kids, you know, when you took them to the Ingleburn Fair.
Yes,
They're very lovely.
Yes.
So good to know the secret behind the successful work-life balance. So thank you so much,
My pleasure.
Minister, spending this much time with us. I know you are very busy, and thank you so much for having us and having this meaningful discussion.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much,
the MetroMalayalam.
Yes. Thank you very much, Deepa, for interviewing me. I'm delighted to, to tell my story and the important work that the government is doing to make sure people in New South Wales live better lives. And to the audience of MetroMalayalam, thank you for having me today. I look forward to sharing more stories with you into the future.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Bye.